All right, y'all. Well, welcome back to What Do You Know with Nick and Devin. I'm Nick.
And I'm Devin.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change it up.
See, I'm not as punchy when I start it.
No.
It's only on yours.
That's why I'm trying to punch into yours. Gross.
Okay. We're
you know what
we're
I
gonna move over that. Devin, how are you? What's new? What's going on?
I'm good.
Yeah?
It snowed the other day, and that was wild. It snowed on Halloween.
Yeah.
This is probably like a month after Halloween now.
It's been a minute, yeah.
So I don't know. It's been good. I think I'm ready for winter.
Yeah.
I don't like. I love the sun and summer, but I also don't like being sweaty. And I'm a big guy, so I sweat. I get warm.
We're just
all the
two
time.
sweaty boys.
Sweaty boys.
Perfect. What did you dress up as for Halloween?
I get together with Allie and our friend Alicia, and we wear animal onesies and pass out candy to the kids.
Adorable.
The few kids that show up.
Uh-huh.
So I have an otter onesie, and it has gloves, and it's really warm, and a tail and a hood.
Do the kids love it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I love it. I don't know. I think I'm like scary to kids sometimes just because I'm a large man. I'm like, have some candy.
And they're like, ah!
Exactly. It goes against all their instincts.
Right. What was your favorite kid costume this year?
There were only like 6 kids.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like, well,
That's disappointing.
yeah. One of them, there was a couple of Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol's hot.
Okay. Whoa. All right, calm down there.
A hot item.
Yeah. That didn't help you at all
No,
either.
it didn't.
I was at a event for work on the Sunday before, and it was like a shit ton of children in costumes.
yeah.
I will say one of the best ones was this kid who uses a wheelchair was dressed as a vending machine and like fully decked out his wheelchair and
That's
like himself.
awesome.
And I was like, dude, you can have as much, like we were giving like 1 or 2 pieces away to everyone. I was like,
Right.
you can have as much candy as you want because that costume
effort,
is
yeah.
1,000% amazing.
That's awesome.
For Halloween, Halloween and then leads into kind of Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos. And so on the 2nd, we went to the Goodman and we saw a show called Lucha Libre and bring you back to our Aztec episode.
Ooh, I'll put a card in the YouTube video here.
Deod means God or gods in Nahuatl. And so it's a Lucha Libre fight, but based on like the gods, the Aztec gods.
Oh,
yeah, it was cute. It was like
that's
90
really cool.
minutes, and it was fun because it was kind of in the style. And so like they had like kids being able to make posters beforehand, and like it was like a fight, like an actual ring, and I was like, it was cute. It was fun. I was like, that's a really cool way to like spend the day and spend the evening. And it was a quick like 90-minute show, and I was like,
Did you just lean over to whoever you went with and be like, hey, did you know about this god did this shit? And they had hands and hearts all along their neck and a jade neck skirt.
The best one and a jade skirt, the snake skirt as well.
Skirt, yeah.
Well, that was the best part. Is like one of the main characters in it was Huitzilopochtli, which was like the guy who led the Mexican people. And at one point, his mom is the villain, but they never really say that.
Okay.
And so I leaned over and I was like, that's technically his mom? I was like, anyway.
You were one of those guys.
Right.
Actually.
So actually, it's kind of weird that he's fighting his mom. 100%.
Perfect.
But what's fun about that is that it leads us into our topic today.
Whoa.
What do you know about Lucha Libre?
Oh,
Yeah.
I know that it is. I don't know the origin, but I just know that it's like Mexican wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they always have a mask on, and the identity of the wrestlers is always a mystery.
A mystery. Pretty spot on for the most
all I
part.
got.
Honestly, close the book. We're done.
Perfect.
What do you call it? No, that's definitely, it is or originated in Mexico. There are masks involved, and it's always a mysterious of like who the person really is.
Yeah.
But it is kind of an interesting like backlog, and there's a lot of like, of course, it's a performance. You know what I mean? Just like it is in the U.S.
Right.
It's all performative, and there's storylines, and there's families, and all of this, which is cool.
You're telling me The WWE is fake?
I didn't want to break this to you today.
Shit. What about Santa?
We'll talk about it in our after show.
Okay. Off the pod.
Off the pod. But yeah, so we're going to get into Lucha Libre today.
Perfect.
Can you...
Yeah. Can you tell me how to properly say it?
Lucha
Libre.
Perfect.
Okay, Lucha Libre.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got it.
Great. Okay.
Can you give me, because this was, I mean, I think we see it in the US and it was like boxing and stuff like that, but I think the announcers, the commentators in Lucha Libre are hysterical because it's just like a soap opera. Like it's ridiculous. But can you give me your best announcer voice?
Oh, announcing like a wrestling match?
Yeah, like ladies and like that sort of thing.
Like the whole "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" thing?
Yeah, dude.
Right, let me back up from the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble.
That's
all I got.
That was awesome. I like to get really deep.
Oh, yeah.
Damas y caballeros, bienvenidos a Lucha Libre. And if we're not hired based off of this clip,
right, I can pitch up and down, whatever you need, if you're listening.
Super adjustable. Yeah. Really open to notes and feedback. Yeah. Resume will be in the show notes.
DMs open.
Perfect. All right, so Lucha Libre. Means...
Goddamn. Hated that.
The meaning is freestyle wrestling, or literally translated to like free fight, right?
Oh yeah, so Libre. To be free, right?
You got it.
Yeah. Okay.
You're brushing off that Spanish you took. Did you ever take Spanish?
I took
French.
Yeah, I did French from 7th grade to sophomore year of high school. I took one Spanish class in 2nd or 3rd grade, but it was only during the lunch period, so it wasn't a real Spanish class at all. Like I learned rojo.
That's all you know.
That's all I got.
Okay, anyway, never mind. We'll really go into the translation of things then.
Perfect.
So in English, Lucha Libre is a stage performance with predetermined outcomes, right? Yeah. So in English and like the English culture, like we really only know it as Lucha Libre, right?
Yeah.
In Spanish and Mexican culture, there's kind of 3 different types of Lucha Libre.
Okay.
So there's Lucha Libre Olímpica, which is kind of more professional, like ground wrestling, like Greco-Roman, like in high school, I'm going to wrestle sort of thing.
Yeah, on mats.
Yeah, onesie, or what's it called? Singlet. You get it. Lucha Libre Profesional, which is like WWE wrestling.
Okay.
And then Lucha Libre Mexicana, which is what we know as Lucha Libre.
Okay.
So the reason like Profesional and Mexicana are kind of different is just like a little bit more of like the performative aspect and like masks and things like that. So there's some differentiation, but those are kind of the 3.
Yeah.
The biggest differences being Olímpica and Mexicana.
Right.
So, started in the early 20th century, it developed in its own unique form with holds and maneuvers, especially like high-flying maneuvers, like jumping off things and stuff.
Yeah.
And most known for the wrestlers' colorful masks. Tag teams are also especially prevalent within this and are often trios instead of kind of the duo that we know today.
Yeah. Interesting.
So the masks are of most notable significance, and oftentimes the stakes of a match might come down to wrestlers having to wager their masks, and the loser must permanently remove and hand over theirs.
Whoa.
Yeah, we get a little further into that, but that's like a really big match if that happens. Yeah. Wrestlers are called luchadores. Fighters, right? So each luchador usually comes from an extended wrestling family who form their own, quote, stables. So it's just a family line, right? The family line Los Guerreros integrated into the U.S. pro wrestling scene and kind of started to infiltrate that market a little bit, which is cool. And they're divided, luchadores are divided into 2 kind of categories within, the script.
Yeah.
There's the rudos, which are the kind of tough guys, bad guys. They bend and break the rules. They're also referred to as like a heel. Okay. Like they're such a heel, like that old phrase. Yeah. And they tend to have a more like brawl style of technique. Then there's the técnicos, which are the good guys, the technicians. They're like a good face.
Say more technical style of fighting.
You get it. They play by the rules. They're adored. They have a much more complex and thrilling maneuvers. And they tend to have more Greco-Roman wrestling kind of technique involved. The roles actually seem to switch though when it comes to like U.S. wrestling, where the good guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, taking it back, are more like brawlers. Like their sort of style of fighting was more kind of like scrappy and things like that. Whereas villains like Kurt Angle, which that was a core memory unlocked, are known to be like more technical in their wrestling. Which is kind of
interesting.
Right, exactly. So, rudos have also been known to become técnicos after a career-defining moment, such as with the Blue Demon, which we'll get into.
Perfect.
I know. And not the Paul Blue Demon, it's a different Blue Demon.
Oh, nuts.
I know what you're thinking. So, some two-man tag teams have also been known to be composed of a rudo and a técnico. So, they'll like kind of pair up.
Yeah.
And it's known as a pareja increíble. So, it's like an incredible pair. And so, which adds to the drama of the match as each luchador's desire to win battles with his contempt for his partner. Because they're like, we both want to win this match, but also I hate you because you're the opposing people.
Interesting.
I know. That was in the show. They had two gods, the moon god and the sun god, pair up. And they were like, I don't know about you, but we're an unlikely pair.
The most beautiful god.
Different. It was Goyo and
Huitzilopochtli.
Yeah, we're in a different cycle and this and I know. But the most beautiful. Yeah, I don't remember. Look at your memory.
Look at me go.
I know.
Steel trap.
So, what's fun is in July 21st of 2018, Lucha Libre Mexicana was declared an intangible cultural heritage of Mexico City. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So some history into it. It dates back to 1863 during the French intervention in Mexico, the second time. Because the first time, as we might remember from one of our earlier episodes, again, was the Pastry War.
I'll put another card right here.
Thank you. So this was during the second intervention, is when it kind of has started.
You said 1863?
1863.
Okay, wow.
Right. Yeah. So Enrique Ugatechea, developed the style of wrestling from Greco-Roman wrestling, and he is the first Mexican wrestler. So he kind of developed it, kind of went into it, and all of that. As we enter the early 1900s, it stays mainly regional until Salvador Luteroff, very strange last name, Luteroff, founded Empresa Mexicana de Lucha Libre Enterprise in 1933. This unified the sport to have it on a national foothold. So now it's not just like, oh, this town has it or this state has it. It's more like a national storyline.
Rule, storyline.
Exactly.
Thing.
So due to this, the profession flourished and became the premier location for wrestlers. So everyone's like, I want to join this ring of wrestling, right? In the 1950s, as television became more prevalent, Salvador broadcast the Empresa Mexicana de Lucha Libre across the country, and it drove a massive explosion in popularity. Because now everyone can see it. It enters everyone's homes, you know what I mean? Or wherever you're watching.
Right.
Broadcasting also allowed for celebrities and superstars to be created and wanted and turned into a pop culture phenomenon. Right? Just like as in we saw with television anywhere, right? Once people are on your screen and you're seeing them every day, you kind of start to create these celebrities and superstars from this phenomenon.
Exactly.
Right? So one of them, and kind of the original one to start, was called El Santo, the Saint. And so in 1942...
I just like that your voice deepens and goes into Telemundo.
Totally. Telemundo.
Yeah.
And so el luchador enmascarado, a masked wrestler, steps into the ring in Mexico City with a silver mask on and wins an 8-man battle royale.
Holy shit.
He's like, bring it the fuck
bam, 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 I win.
Just like that. with the drawn cow marks. Yeah. And so the public loves the mystique and secrecy of Santos' personality, and he is instantly the most popular luchador in Mexico.
Is he the first? I'm sorry. Is he the first one with a mask?
He is. I don't know if he's the first.
Okay.
But I think he really popularizes that.
Okay.
Everyone's kind of. I think there were a handful that wore a mask beforehand, or tried something of the sort, but this is the first guy to be we have no idea who he is. He wasn't promoted beforehand, just enters the ring with a mask, destroys 8 guys, and everyone's like, holy
this is
fuck.
crazy.
Right.
Okay.
And so El Santo is portrayed by Rodolfo Guzman Huerta. His career spanned 5 decades.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
How do you wrestle for 50 years?
Truly. And influenced life outside of the ring, as he was seen as a folk hero and symbol of justice for the common people.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
I mean, he's really turns into the common man's hero. You know what I mean?
Right. Almost like a comic book hero at this point.
Right.
That's so cool.
One of his greatest matches was in 1952. He fights a tag team duo known as Los Hermanos, which consisted of the Blue Demon and Black Shadow. Santo beat and unmasked Black Shadow in the ring.
Whoa.
And this prompts Blue Demon to become a técnico and starts the legendary feud between Blue Demon and Santo.
Oh.
And so later in 1952, a series of matches between the two of them is overly publicized because now there's a feud and all of those things, right?
Right.
Which culminates in the defeat of Santos by the hand of the Blue Demon. Because Santos has never really been defeated before.
Right.
So now there's this whole feud happening and the Blue Demon's fucking beat.
Yeah.
Yeah. He appeared, El Santo, of course, also appeared in comics and movies. With his Lucha Libre, received a huge degree of mainstream attention because now it's everywhere. It's not just televised; it's in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And Santo and the Blue Demon actually appeared in several action adventure films together, but their rivalry never really ended. It just kind of always consisted through their time, which is crazy. Another thing about Rodolfo is he never removed his mask. Even in private company.
Oh.
He just always wore it. To the point where when traveling on flights, he would make sure to take different flights than his crew to avoid them seeing his face when he had to remove it in customs.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
he was
funny
I don't want anyone
to know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh. And so the only time he did it was in late January of 1984, a little over a year after his retirement. He removed his mask on a talk show without warning to bid his fans goodbye. They didn't know he was going to do that.
Whoa.
He was just and surprise, and said goodbye to his fans and finally showed his face.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a send-off.
It is the only documented case of Santo removing his mask in public.
That's crazy.
He also
very documented.
Right? Also, which is kind of strangely symbolic of this action, is he also died a week later.
Whoa.
He died a week later of a heart attack, and per his wishes, he was buried wearing his mask.
Wow, serendipitous. That's crazy.
Isn't that
Jesus.
insane? Yeah. Which I think he was helping put on a staged performance or something to do with Lucha Libre, was helping doing that, and he had a heart attack.
Wow.
Which also, could you, on as a side note, could you imagine stumbling upon many years later, the grave of, but you just see a skeleton with a mask.
Mascot? Yeah.
Horrifying.
Yeah, a little bit.
So other notable luchadores are Goriguero, which was credited for developing now commonplace maneuvers and holds.
Okay.
And Mil Mascaras, which is the man of 1,000 masks. And he was credited with introducing high-flying moves. The first of the high flyers, and received international fame as a result of it.
Huh.
Third ring or third rope, jump in, boom,
Yeah.
right? Just like that.
Just like that.
You get it. So some different styles of, styles of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So luchadores are traditionally more agile performers from the cruiserweight division, which is the light heavyweight division.
Okay.
With more aerial maneuvers, right? I can't be a bigger guy and start jumping off rings.
Everywhere.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so if that's the prominent style of wrestling, I need to be more agile. I need to have a lighter weight class, right? And so the U.S. actually typically is a little bit different and relies on power and hard strike moves instead of kind of these agile, out of the way, swift action, right? So luchadores are typically use rapid fire combinations, complex submission holds, and utilize the wrestling rings to catapult themselves towards their opponents. However, because the rings in Lucha Libre matches have no integrated spring supports in the mat, like the US and Japan, a large majority of aerial moves are done on opponents outside of the ring. Because if there's no support springs, you're just hitting wood, right? And so they do it like from the top rung outside of the ring.
Where there might be some mats or something.
Yep, and it allows the luchador to break his fall with like an acrobatic tumble. So it gives them kind of the more flexibility and a little bit more support than in the ring. Yeah. Which I'm like, just give them support.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just like build the spring system.
Right.
But
maybe to make it a little bit more like easy to move around. I don't know. But at this point, I'm just like, if you have the means, why not?
Right.
So anyway,
I don't know.
With several different weight classes and most catering to smaller, agile fighters, most luchadores make their debuts in their mid-teens so that their skills are developed by their mid-20s.
Jesus.
Could you imagine being in high school and being like, oh, I gotta go fight today?
Well, I just feel like your body just isn't done developing. It's like, you know, like starting in gymnastics when you're young and tiny. Like, you're just stunting the shit out of your body.
Well, that's what they want. They want to be tiny and petite.
Yeah.
And so several prominent Japanese wrestlers also started their careers training in lucha fights before becoming stars in Japan.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so another thing is tag team wrestling matches are huge in Lucha Libre, as we talked about, and often made up of 3 members. These teams compete in trio matches for the tag team championship belt.
Yeah.
A successful fall, or like win, is achieved when the opposing team's captain is pinned or the other 2 members of the opposing team are pinned together.
Okay.
The referee can also stop the match due to excessive punishment and award the match to the aggressors.
Yeah.
So if they're just like dominating, he can just be like, all right,
mercy rule.
Done.
Yeah.
Right. And so tagging in and out can also be done by either rolling out of the ring or being thrown out of the ring, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
And there are also parejas and atomicos matches. So two-man tag matches or 4-on-4 matches, respectively.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the base of the wrestling itself.
Okay.
But now we're going to get into the masks and why they're so prominent and like a little bit more about them in general. And so masks have always had a historical significance in Mexico, dating back to the Aztecs, of course. Mm-hmm. So Aztec masks were intricate, often made from wood and decorated using a mosaic pattern of small turquoise stones, with the eyes and teeth made from mother of pearl and conch shells.
Okay.
When you see one, horrifying.
I bet.
Truly, yeah. Of nightmares. Some have been found made of stone or obsidian, or even real human skull.
Oh, cute.
I love it. And so the masks were thought to be used in religious ceremonies and especially during sacrifices to signify death. You know, a good old death mask.
Right.
But not the actual death mask.
No.
Matt, why can't I say death mask?
I don't know. You
I
keep
don't
on
know.
saying desk math.
Gee. Not like your average death mask. Now I'm moving on. In the beginning of Lucha, masks were basic colors to simply just distinguish luchadores from each other. So like El Santo had silver and then someone else had blue. Like maybe you had like a little bit of pattern, but nothing crazy. It was more so like trim than anything, right? Yeah. Now, masks are intricately designed to evoke images of gods and animals, ancient heroes, and other archetypes. This then matches the persona of the luchador during the match.
Okay.
So
that
like
makes sense.
In the show that we saw, a lot of these are like the moon god had like moon symbols, or like you have fire, all of these things, right? So it just feeds more into the performative nature of it, right? Most luchadores will start with a mask, but a majority over the span of their careers will be unmasked, usually for 2 reasons.
Uh-oh.
So one is retirement. They're like, I'm out. And so the luchador will be retiring and either be unmasked at the start of the tour or in his final performance.
Yeah.
And so the other is the end of a gimmick. So a luchador is like, I want to be done with this persona and I want to move on to the next one. So you can unmask me and then I'll go on and become someone else.
Character.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting, I get that. You know what I mean? Like if from like a media and like perspective, like if this has run its course, let's just get you into another.
This storyline is done.
Right.
Let's switch it up.
Exactly.
Right.
The mask is considered so sacred that fully removing an opponent's mask during a match is grounds for disqualification.
Whoa.
So like, well, let me get into this first. Luchas de apuestas, which are matches with a wager or a betting match, are where kind of masks come into play as wagers, right? So in tradition, during these matches, one luchador will put their mask or hair on the line as a means to settle a heated feud between the two wrestlers.
And by hair,
truly your hair.
So like you'll shave my head if I lose?
So whoever loses removes their mask or shaves their head immediately after the match is complete.
Question. If I have a mask on, here's my question. Is my mask covering my whole head or is it covering just my face?
There's different. It could be either.
Okay.
So there are some masks that just cover your face and your hair is still visible. There are other masks that cover everything. There are also, which we'll kind of like touch on, but there are also luchadores that don't wear masks. So it's a common misconception that everyone in Lucha Libre wears masks. So that's
okay. So that's where the hair. Like I was gonna. My original question was, how do you know that I shaved my head if I have a mask on?
Well, you also have
covering my head.
It has to happen immediately after, like in the ring. Like it happens immediately
in front
after
of everybody.
Yeah, someone's like, and the precious blade. Not really, but someone brings out a
like instead of a microphone coming down from the ceiling, it's a razor.
Exactly. It's a buzzer. So whoever loses removes their mask or shaves their head immediately after the match is complete. If the fighter who has to remove his mask, has an unknown identity. So if they don't know who this person is, it's customary that they reveal their name, hometown, and years as a professional as they unmask themselves. So it's kind of like, this is who I truly am. A true unmasking, if you will. During their careers, masked luchadores will usually wear their masks in public to keep up with the Lucha Libre culture. So similar to kind of like Al Santo, where everywhere they go, they'll wear one. Some of them won't. Some of them will. Some of them will wear them on like special occasions or things like that. So it's a way to integrate this kind of cultural significance and phenomena into everyday life.
Yeah, but it's kind of got to be nice a little bit too to be able to like take the mask off and just like blend back into society and not have a normal life and not be a constant celebrity. Right.
And so these masks have become such an iconic symbol of Mexican culture that they have been incorporated into varying mediums of art forms, from movies to comics to paintings. A lot of there are some contemporary like Mexican artists that will utilize either the masks within their paintings or will depict these masks within their paintings as like kind of a call to the culture, which is cool. Not all luchadores wear masks. Several had successful careers without wearing one, and even luchadores that have been unmasked will continue on without their mask. Because now they're like, my identity has been revealed. I'll just keep going, and it'll be part of the storyline, right? So today, the two biggest Lucha Libre promotions in Mexico currently are Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, founded in 1933, so kind of like the OG one. And then Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide, founded in 1992.
That's like when you're speaking a different language other than English, and then you say like blah 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 blah. Pepsi, blah, 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 blah. AAA worldwide. It's like, okay.
Why would you do that?
Right.
So those are kind of the two top lucha promotions in Mexico currently. And so in 2000, which is really cool, an all-female promotion company was founded, which is Lucha Libre Femenil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so many luchadores have found success in the U.S. in recent years, as well as Lucha Libre is televised on Spanish language networks in the U.S. And the Mexican culture becomes like more widely known and incorporated into American culture.
Yeah.
They're just seeing more of a rise in success with that incorporation, which is cool. Lucha Libre is the second most popular sport in Mexico after soccer.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's huge.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And then I literally just have a note that I'd be remiss to not mention Nacho Libre.
I didn't want to bring up that was like one of my few experiences with this topic.
I think it's hysterical.
It's a great movie.
Of course, there are other comics and TV and like movies that have incorporated like lucha into their storylines, but I think Nacho Libre is actually really funny.
There was this cartoon that used to be on Saturday morning cartoons way back when. That was like that had lucha, but they were like superheroes. So they all like wore masks. It was animated, of course. And it was like, I don't remember what it was called, but I was like, oh yeah, there's this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, yeah, so I think it's interesting that I like that it parallels like WWE, but WWE is so
dramatic.
Well, it's so dramatic, but in like a serious tone.
Yeah.
It's like what I think about when you think of like an American cookie show and then like Great British Bake Off, where it's like you have this like intense, dramatic, like, you know, ladders and people doing all these things and like Tombstone, whatever. And then you have like Lucha Libre, which is like just more fun. Like, of course there is drama and there is like commentators and it's, you know, high energy and intense, but it's more fun. You know what I mean? And the audience is like a member of the performance. Like you're encouraged to shout out and interact with the wrestlers as they're up there and stuff like that, which is cool. And so it's a little bit more like all inclusive versus it being like, and now I'm gonna throw my opponent off of this high. You know what I mean?
Right.
The intensity isn't necessary. Like it's all about the storyline and the performance. Like just keep it in that. So yeah, it's fun. There are what do you call it? There are like when we saw the show, it's fun to see like the actual matches, but then there was like a tag team match of like two, like their personas were rabbits and they were more of like, they're like, they've never won a match in like 5 decades. And like their whole thing is like to be the clowns of the show. And so like, they're just like running around, like doing different things. And I'm like, hysterical.
That's cute.
Yeah,
that's fun.
Super cute. So I was like, I like to think that that's like the clowns of the show,
right?
Which is fun. But yeah, that is Lucha Libre.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
We'll have to take you to one.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun.
Oh, I know. I think our friend Jaime, who I've like seen him post about like them doing like setting up a ring like on the streets during certain festivals.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think again, it's just so integrated into culture that it's cool to have that kind of infiltrated here as well. Obviously really big down in Mexico City.
Of course.
And like Lucha Teot, this will have been done by the time that this airs, but it wasn't. I was like, I'll promote it. And I was like, it ends this weekend. So never mind. But it's fun. I think that's the fun thing is that like, it's just a chance to go out, watch some drama. I mean, there are people that like follow the full storyline and the histories of these families. And like, it is like a whole integration of things, you know, like they'll buy the masks and the merch and the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, the same thing with WWE.
Yeah, there's so many plot lines in WWE.
Oh my God. And like the fragments thereof too. I'm just like, Jesus.
Right.
But I remember back in like the good old days, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, The Rock, other wrestlers that we knew.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever watch WWE?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like I did a little bit, but I wasn't allowed to.
Really?
Yeah, I would go over to friends' houses and watch it. But no, I never watched it like at my house.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
You didn't have little action figures?
No.
I went to one once at United Center. No, not United Center. Allstate.
Okay.
I was like, what's the one?
What's the other one?
What's the 18 others that we have here at Allstate? And it was, I mean, it's everything that you think it would be.
Yeah.
And it was just insane.
I bet.
And like people just go, what? I'm like,
they're
calm
dedicated.
down. Like it's one thing to like have energy and like cheer and boo and things
Right,
like
get
that, but like
involved.
when you're like angry,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Especially since it's all a performance and it's not
Right.
real.
Correct. I don't know how to break this to you, but it's all fake and they stage it. So sorry. But anyway, a fun little episode.
Oh yeah, that was great. Thank you for letting me know about all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's something I obviously didn't know much of anything about.
We'll go to one of them and then we'll film it for the pod.
Perfectly.
We'll actually be the commentators at the fight.
Yeah.
And then we'll put it on the pod.
Great.
Done. All right, everyone. Well, you can make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us at _podcast, and on Twitter, WDYK_podcast. Do all the things. Let us know who your favorite wrestler is. If you have one, who's your favorite luchador? We would. I don't know many of them. So like, let's get further into the mainstream ones. That'd be fun. That'd be cool. So that's what I got for you, Dev.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.